The reading is from Luke chapter 12, verses 13 to 21. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Friend, who set me to be a judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." Then he told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly. And he thought to himself, "What should I do? For I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I'll say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you. And the things that you have prepared, whose will they be?' So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich towards God."
Jesus tells such great stories, doesn't he? They're easy to understand and you can picture what he's talking about. And it's easy to know what he's getting at, but sometimes so hard to apply that to our world and our own lives and how we should respond. Very often Jesus doesn't explain his parables, his stories to people, except sometimes afterwards to the disciples. He leaves it for people to work it out. But this time the meaning of the story is explained right at the beginning. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. We're not what we own. The things we have, that's not where we find life. We need to guard ourselves against the advertising voices of our world that might encourage us to think otherwise. And so in Jesus' story, this rich man, a farmer, already has a lot of possessions. He's got a barn, but then one year the land produces so much crop that he can't fit it in the barn. So what is he going to do? Now, I found this story told in the words of a song by the Christian children's leader Ishmael, and the chorus has a wonderful tongue twister that you might like to try joining in. We'll say it quite slowly this time. It's going to come faster as we go through. So the farmer said, "I know what I'll do. I'll build a bigger barn, bigger barn, bigger barn. Build a bigger barn, bigger barn. Hey, hey, hey. Build a bigger barn, bigger barn, bigger barn. Build a bigger barn, bigger barn." And so that's what he does. He pulls down his old barns and he builds bigger ones. And then he says to himself, talking to his soul, his life within him, "Oh, I'm okay now. I've got plenty for all the years ahead. I can relax. Stop worrying, eat, drink and be merry and enjoy life." But then the crunch comes. God says, "You fool, this very night your life, your soul, is being demanded of you." Now there's a translation thing going on here. Some translations say, "Tonight you will die." But I think it's more subtle than that. His life was demanded of him, is what it says. By who? Well, it could be God. Some people understand it that way. But it could also be by those things that he has chosen to give his soul to. It's as if he sold himself out to wealth and possessions, and those things can take control of your life. Elsewhere, Jesus said, "You can't serve God or money. Where is your heart?" Now, I think it's important to say that Jesus wasn't saying that we shouldn't enjoy life and the blessings that we have. In fact, he was accused by some of the strict religious leaders for living life wild, for enjoying parties and eating and drinking with people and his friends. And our Genesis readings have been clear that God has blessed us and given us a world of abundance to enjoy, to be fruitful and multiply and live life to the full. But we can't do that if our focus is on money and not on God. That's not where we find life. It means that we're looking for security in the things that we own, as if we're afraid that God won't give us enough. And so Jesus says, don't store up treasure for yourself, but be rich toward God. So you ready? We're going to try that tongue twister again. Jesus said, don't build a bigger barn, bigger barn, bigger barn, build a bigger barn. Hey, 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 build a bigger barn, bigger barn, bigger barn, build a bigger barn. So what should the man have done instead? I guess you might have some good ideas. It doesn't tell us that in the story, but there are lots of other places in the Bible that give instructions to be generous, to give things away to the poor and those who need it. The farmer had way more than enough. He didn't need it all. He could have given some away instead of being greedy and selfish. And I think that if he had done, he might have found much more happiness than the life he was planning for himself. And the same lesson applies to us too. We cut ourselves off from life and from the freedom that God offers if we're greedy and selfish and obsessed with our things. And it applies to us individually as well as to us as a church, and it speaks to our politics too. Selfishness lies at the root of many political systems in which a wealthy few dominate and have control over the economic well-being of the many. It's a system that's been seen in many guises throughout history, and we see it still in our world today. As Christians, we must speak out against these domination systems and speak up for justice and fairness, for compassion and for the common good. Common good is the opposite of domination, where one group flourishes at the expense of another. Instead, there is a common good and all can flourish. And that brings us back to our Genesis reading. We hear there how God gives humans dominion over the natural world. And sometimes that has been badly interpreted through the ages to become domination. We've taken over the world for ourselves. But dominion means being the ruler, being the one in charge. And if we're made in God's image, then we need to be rulers in the way that God would be a ruler over us. When the natural world, when other people see us, they should catch something of a glimpse of what God is like if we are in his image. And so we don't rule by domination, but we value instead steadfast love, faithfulness, joy. And when we look at Jesus' life, we see the very opposite of domination. He came as a vulnerable baby, and he showed us how to live life to the full. So will you join me one last time in that tongue twister? I wonder how fast we can go now. And let's resolve that we won't. Build a bigger barn, bigger barn, bigger barn. Build a bigger barn. Hey, 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 build a bigger barn, bigger barn, bigger barn. Build a bigger barn. And so now we're going to sing a harvest song, giving thanks to God for the abundance that he has given us, and particularly for our food that we need to share. Think about how we can share. I'm hoping some of the children might know this song from school. At the end, it divides into two parts. They're both on the screen, so you can decide which bit you want to sing.